Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up? It's Hatchet. You might know me as Venus as well. Yeah, I'm here today on Jimmy's Jam Box.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Well, I'm from 503. I'm from Portland area, and that's where I rap. But where I'm actually from is I'm from Alaska.
Oh,
I was
okay.
born there in Anchorage. Mm-hmm. Kind of like, not a place many people are born, but I was raised up there, and I was raised in Arizona as well.
Is that like a stat, like that a lot of people aren't born in Anchorage?
Not a lot of people were born in Alaska. It's kind of out there.
Wow, interesting. Huh, I never knew that. Well, that's cool. What, I guess it was like family related. What was like, is like part of your family from there initially, or did they like move there? And
surprisingly, no. My family was up there, but they were from like the Arizona area, which is where my tribe is from, because I'm Navajo.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And do you play any instruments?
I do not, but I just kind of play around with shit. I don't know music theory, but I've been producing for 5 years now.
Okay.
It's actually really where I started doing music, because I started with my friend Aiden out in Woodburn.
Mm-hmm.
We went to school together for a couple of years, and he showed me around FL Studio a little bit.
Oh, gotcha. Is that what you use now?
Yeah, I still what I use.
Okay.
But I was producing in there first because I had the trial version. I couldn't save anything.
Yep.
I ended up using Audacity to record my first songs.
That one gets mentioned often. Shout out Audacity.
Shout out Audacity.
You did something. You were the foundation for so much music.
Friend.
Yep, so much music. I remember when you could like only get like the free version only let you do like mono.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
It was so, you had to like do everything, and it'd be like something that was saved on there.
Yep.
Every movement you did.
Yep.
It was weird.
Oh God. Yeah, that was a time. All right, and now this next question, this one we ask early, it's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Growing up, my siblings would usually just buy something on like iTunes or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was just like whatever album was like a variety album, so that we could have a lot more music to listen to, just like things that were different. So it would be like a lot of compilation albums and things like that.
Okay. You had all the nows?
Yes, literally all those. And then like I would just pick out the ones I liked. I ended up getting like a taste of like EDM music, and I like that.
Okay.
And I started listening to rap too. I like that. I was just like Kanye. I remember I was hearing him on the radio and stuff, so that was definitely an inspiration. I got me really into that, and I did drums when I was really small too.
Oh, okay.
But never really did any. Oh, actually, I did like marimba with that, which is kind of like a piano.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, like, what got you into music initially?
Got me into, I was always just into music. I really liked the feeling of it. And I never really knew I wanted to create it until after I did drums. I just like making noises, but it would annoy the shit out of my teachers though.
Oh, believe me, I understand that one.
Yeah, but after that, what really got me into it was right when I started learning how to produce. Mm-hmm. My friend Aiden just showed me the drums and showed me how to like get started and everything. And then when I was doing that, I already wanted to record. I couldn't afford beats or anything, so I started producing my own. And I also got to mixing my vocals around the same time on Audacity, which was a weird experience. But
yeah, it's the full version's not bad.
I haven't used it in a long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Shout out Sony. You guys are still great.
Yeah, I got auto-tune on there somehow, but
oh, that's actually impressive.
Yeah,
wow.
But then after that, I started mixing on FL and then putting it into exporting it and then putting it into Audacity and mixing it like together.
Do you still do that?
No, I only use FL now. I had the trial version of FL, so I couldn't save anything.
Gotcha. We're tying back.
Yeah,
to that. All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Nothing.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, hey, good on you for being resourceful.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Hell yeah. Now, we just talked about, the first music you kind of got. Although I guess you never really answered, like, what was...
The album I first got? The first album I actually bought with my own money that was something that I knew I wanted to listen to and I was going to listen to repeatedly. And it was something I liked. I went to a CD store and I saw a copy of A$AP Rocky's At Long Last A$AP album.
Okay.
And I got that and I've been listening to it.
Solid first album.
It's an album I love for sure.
Yeah. Hey, A$AP Rocky, if you want to be on it.
Shout out A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, let's make it happen. And then subsequently, tell us about the first show you ever went to that you wanted to go to.
I guess it's my first show I ever went to was it was only 2 years ago, and I went to, that I wanted to go to was Willow Smith.
Okay.
I saw her in Eugene because my sister got me tickets randomly for my birthday.
Oh, well, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, but I said the first rap concert I really went to that I was a rap concert was I went to Uno the Activist in Main Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
And then after that I went to Amine at his show at Motor Center. His first show back in Portland.
I'm so sad I missed Kate Tremine.
I did too. I kept having these bots texting me. They're like, we saw you commented on Amine's post.
Yeah, no, I really wanted to go to it, and I didn't find out until it was too late.
Yeah, the tickets were there. I mean, I saw them, but
I just didn't know in time. I'd been so busy.
He's a great performer.
Oh, they're just phenomenal musicians.
The energy's crazy there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, next time, if you both want to be on the show, make it happen.
We need it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, but let's get back into it, and let's go ahead and dive on into you as the artist. And we're going to get the easy one out of the way. How'd you pick your name?
Honestly, I don't know how the fuck I picked Hatchet as my name, but Venus has a story behind it. Hatchet was just there because I went to a generator online. I picked a couple names. I didn't own any of them. And I was in I came up with this name when I was in 7th or 8th grade. Mm-hmm. I knew I wanted to rap. I hadn't rapped yet. I just freestyled on some YouTube beats. It was some really ass shit, but I mean I had a vision behind it. I already had I wanted to work towards greatness. I was not anywhere near it, but I thought of the coolest. I was like, what's the coolest thing? I was a kid, and I was like, what's the coolest thing that's pretty dope? And for some reason, a hatchet came to my mind, and I was like, all right. But now with some stuff I've learned, I think hatchets are pretty cool.
I thought it was because of the Gary Paulson book.
No, I didn't even know that. I mean, whenever...
Shout out Gary Paulson if you want to be on the show.
Sometimes when I search my name up, when I'm looking for my songs, there's this band called Molly Hatchet, and that always comes up.
Yep. Although I'm surprised the name Hatchet isn't taken otherwise.
Yeah, besides that, it's not.
That's surprising.
Yeah, even with no exclamation mark, because mine has an exclamation mark.
Oh,
it's
so you even did somebody a favor.
Yeah.
You gave somebody the opportunity to get it first.
Yep. But the story behind Venus is that I'm a Libra, so that's just something that I've always thought about. I've just always identified with the goddess of Venus and everything. Definitely the values and everything that she stands for. So that was where that came from. Because I'm a Venusian sign. It just kind of...
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's been a thing. It's sort of I have on my website too. It's just a thing that some people already just know me as Venus. Just because they don't know my name.
That's fair. I mean, I feel especially in the general music community now, that's kind of a big part of it.
Yeah.
You either know people by their music names or by their Instagram names if it's not the same as their music name.
Yeah.
And then when it's not, you're like...
Sometimes people know the Instagram and not the person.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. It's true. Believe me. I'm aware. Now... For this next one, this one's kind of a broader stroke question. It's kind of a two-part one. So for the first part, I want you to tell us about your writing process. And specifically, I want you to focus on when you get inspired. So not that how do you find inspiration?
Yeah.
But when you are inspired, I know everybody does everything a little bit different every time.
Yeah.
But what are the concrete things that you do every time in the beginning? Are there certain patches you pull up, or the certain settings you do? What are the things you do every time, and what gets a song started for you? And then tell us about what decides a song is finished.
So usually I'll either start with the beat that I like, or if I'm making the beat for it, that's a whole different process in itself. But after I do that, I'll usually just record in the same project I produce in, which eats at my CPU, but it's worth it. Yep. Sometimes just in the moment to create right there. And also changing the production along with my vocals and everything. But I'd say it usually just starts with the beat, and then I'll like freestyle on top of it. Usually just some like random lines, not really meaning anything. And then I'll try to get like a chorus built up, usually at the beginning, which is different than some people's song structures. But I like doing the chorus first, and then doing the verse and alternating. But
is that not common?
I don't know. I feel like.
Huh. Put that in the comments, y'all. Do you usually go chorus first or verses first? I'm kind of curious about that because I just realized I do both.
I think it depends on like the genre usually too.
I guess that does play part of it. I think it really just like, you know, I don't want to interrupt your process. keep going, but let's touch back on that in a second.
So I usually just freestyle, and then I'll keep freestyling, and then if things don't flow right, it's always a feeling with me. If things don't flow right in it, then I'll just delete it. Sometimes I'll delete a whole like half a verse sometimes just because I just don't like it, or I'll build something else or a different melodic structure to go into. But I just like having a lot of variety, a lot of different sounds. I like playing around with like reverbs and stuff like that. Some automation just to spice things up. But I usually get into that towards the end. Sometimes I'll like finish the song or like get like most of the way done to where there's like still room for another verse or something. And then I'll export it, give it a couple hours, let my ears like rest a little bit. And then I'll listen to it again in a different environment or on a different device, and then sort of do that and get the feel for it for like a day or so. And then usually come back and do like final touches and then like add ad-libs that I had felt that could be there or like something that would add to it.
Okay. So that's just the whole process.
Yeah, that's the process. I'm giving away the secret.
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with like a clear cutness.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what are the final details that need to stand out, I guess, to like decide details? Something's finished? You know what I mean? Like, do you look for that feel?
It's a
do you like try it in front of people?
Well,
like, what are the things that stamp it?
People, and then depending on what they think about it, I'll take that into consideration. Obviously, it's my creative project, so I'm not going to change some things if I don't think. But
you're still allowed to have people whose opinion.
Yeah, I like hearing the opinion either way. I think that an opinion, no matter what, adds something. There's definitely value in diversity of opinions. I always respect people's opinions, but usually.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. All right. Oh, just real quick. Ooh. All right, now for this next one, out of your entire discography, like, so I want you to think all the songs you have available now, not anything you're working on. I have to preface this, not something that's coming out soon, something that's all available now. If somebody were to walk up to you and be like, out of all your songs, which one is like the one, if you only could show somebody one song, what one would you show them?
That's kind of a toss up there, but I would say the song that most embodies me and my vision is Eye for an Eye.
Okay.
But the close runner-up is Feel Like Horace.
All right, well, take us through Eye for an Eye for a little bit.
Eye for an Eye is it's kind of just a story of like two people who were like split by distance, but then there's like sort of like subconscious things or very subtle things that are like kind of pulling people together. And then it's also about, well, the song title and what the chorus is about is like always taking vengeance on something isn't always the best thing, and it says one eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, because eventually we're gonna run out of eyes to cut, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta change it up a little bit. But I'd say that song for sure, because they go into like what I really believe in and like things I want to change in the world, because that's really why I do music.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I want to make the world a better place. I want to make it a greener place. I want to make it a healthier place.
I dig that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, why was the second one such a close runner-up?
Because it's two different areas of my life. That was a couple years ago that I made Eye for an Eye. I made it, and then a couple weeks later, I released it on a 3-song EP. Mm-hmm. It was like real quick. I just want to get some music out. But after that, I mean, I lived a lot of life through it since then, and I made Feel Like Horace in the time, and it just really fit that time. It was more recent for me, so it's like kind of just two different sides of myself, two different versions of myself. But Feel Like Horace is definitely one of my favorite sounding songs, but Eye for an Eye has always been the message for me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, I love that. All right, and then tell us about either if you have too many, I always ask either your most favorite, or if you have too many, your most wildest show that you've ever performed at.
So I have a wild show and I have my favorite show.
All right, go ahead and pick whichever one you'd like first, but you can tell us both.
The Wild Show was in Tacoma with Storm Tour. Like some crazy stuff had happened. The first venue in Seattle got closed down, shut down from noise complaint.
Uh-oh.
And so people were like, some people didn't want to perform anymore. Some people were like upset. Some people were like, what's going to happen? We ended up moving to a new location in Tacoma. The people who were there, most of them went to the other one, and then a new crowd got built up there. But it was a really good show. It was kind of a weird night for me in general. There was like some weird stuff that happened with like some dude being like weird to like one of the people with us. But we ended up all like helping her out and everything. But that show was crazy because this girl like randomly was just like going crazy in the front of the show. Just like most energy I've ever seen.
Damn.
And then I saw this dude with a cowboy hat dancing. I was kind of lit, so I was like, that's pretty fire.
Yo, shout out to dudes in cowboy hats.
Yeah, he was like this big dude. Like he was like no shirt on and shit. He was like dancing. I played one song that night, but it was crazy. The crowd definitely loved the music.
Hey, I mean that's half the reason to show up.
Yeah, and that was just crazy because of that. And then also like this is like not a good thing, obviously, but like some person got hit like right like next to the venue.
Oh no!
Like a couple streets down, like got hit by a car, and so we heard like a bunch of police stuff. That shit was crazy.
Ugh.
It was a weird night. We were all like lit. It was just weird vibes. It was like surreal.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that was one of the more wild ones.
That was the wildest one. Yeah.
All right. What was the favorite one?
My favorite one was my first show.
Okay.
Because that one
Another interesting statistic, y'all. I'm going to keep calling these out as they happen, but that is I'm going to say like a 50-50 split. It's usually either people's first show or not their first show, but the ratio is first show pretty often.
Yeah, it was my first show just because my family was there for that one. And it was also Storm Tour, but it was Storm Tour too. It did hit different. It was my siblings, my sister and my brother who I grew up with.
Oh, hell yeah.
Did a whole lot of... They were like my best friends growing up because I was moving around everywhere. Alaska, Arizona, Oregon. Like,
yeah.
They were my best friends. So it's nice having them there. My other friends came, and then my partner came as well. It was definitely a beautiful time. But I like that one because that was my first time ever showing my music. I had my shirt on. Like, this is my shirt, by the way.
Oh, shit.
I had my shirt on. It was my red and black one, and people liked that. People really liked my music, and I was like not used to that. Obviously, I was kind of nervous, but I got up there and I was like jumping and shit. I was acting crazy, obviously, and it was great. I just felt like more free than I'd ever felt, and I got to bring my friend Aiden up there, who started music with me. Now we're in a group together called Local Pressure. By the way, shout out Local Pressure.
Local Pressure, hell yeah.
We're coming for everybody.
I think we'll have them back on the show at some point.
But yeah, we should. There's 4 of them, so and me. But yeah, they're fucking dope. Listen to them. I performed with them a lot. But I was up there with Aiden, and he was kind of nervous for it too. He had never performed either, so it was kind of like a crazy little thing. But it was definitely my favorite, and it was nice to see people fucking with us. People had their flashlights up and shit.
You know, there's something powerful in the first moment. I say this anytime anybody brings that answer up. But there's something in that first time you perform that it just, even if it goes terribly, even if it's the worst, it's still like you can't forget it. You know what I mean? It's always there. And somebody said, you know, I always tie these two terms together, so eventually they blur. But the premise is that to do something, you have to do it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like the only way to have done something is to do it for the first time. And then after that, the only thing more important than doing it the first time is doing it the next time.
And doing it better.
Well, I mean, better is remember we talked about that off camera, but better is a subjective thing, but continuing to do it. Like, because you could hit a brick wall for like 364 out of 365 days. You could spend a whole 99.92% of a year just being like, I don't know why the fuck I can't hit that. I can't pass that ceiling. I can't get where I'm going. I can't do it. And then on the last day, you could just do something that just knocks it out of the park. And you're like, oh my God, these other 364 days have suddenly accumulated to this one moment.
Yeah.
And it can redefine your entire writing style. It can redefine your entire presentation of music, or it can even like solidify it. The redefinition can be doubling down.
Yeah.
Like you may have just not been leaning into it enough.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, like sometimes you really have to just go in there and just do things. Sometimes you make a lot of songs and those songs don't even end up being anything. But if you get one song and develop your style that much to where it's like each one of those things is going to build on that, and you have to really build your own sound. Obviously, you don't want to. You can take inspiration, but you don't want to like wholly copy something.
Exactly.
And that only comes with experience.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Now we've got one last question for the artist focus range.
All right.
And this is kind of a deep question. So really dig in. And I think you'll have a good answer for this. But what is it about music that matters most? And I'm not, and not externally. So like not what is a thing that comes from music. What is it about the process in music, the involvement in music? What is it about the creation of music that makes it worth doing to you?
Music for me really is a spiritual thing. And that usually happens in my producing because I think there's things that people feel that can not be translated in a lot of the mediums. But music, I feel like, is really close to the base of all things. And I think that allows for a really deep connection. Like, even if people don't even know what people are saying, they can feel it in the music. And it's definitely something that I think is sacred. And so I do take a reverence with it when I create things.
Hell yeah. Solid answer.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go ahead and dive on into some hypothetical questions.
All right.
Let's have some fun. And this first one's kind of an easy one, but if you could work with anybody who's currently alive, and you have to pick one person. So if it's a group, you've got to pick a member of the group. But any one person who's currently alive, who would you pick and how would you work with them?
It's kind of hard. I think it's probably an answer people have already gotten, but I think probably if I could really work with any artist, it's kind of a crazy one, but I think probably Aphex Twin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so curious to know why.
Production. I think Aphex Twin is a genius. There's a couple other runner-ups. Kanye was one of them. That's kind of controversial, but I just think his production is insane.
You know, for such a controversial answer, it comes up a little more regularly than
honestly,
you think.
Yeah. I don't agree with him on a lot of things.
Present day Kanye. I mean, I miss the old Kanye statement gets truer and truer every day for the people who are a fan. I never loved Kanye. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be here right.
I loved his vision. Honestly, that's what I thought about.
See,
mostly.
I didn't need a lot of the out loud of it all. Like I appreciated his music, and I appreciated the design and the like structure and the effort he put into it. I think that a lot of the out loud rhetoric we all leaned in early on as a like, man, this guy's a genius, and not so much of a man. There's a lot of like. There's a lot of like stemic statements here that could lead to maybe somebody not being as like put together as they should be. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I think society fed into not a lot of like, you know, his words are his words, and he made his decision. So I'm not standing on a hill for Kanye in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying I think that the design kind of fed into the breakdown that he led to today.
Oh, for sure. The music industry as well, just really.
The whole world attached to it. I mean, it's not something I'll dive into the show, but like the concept of like how we treat famous people.
Oh yeah,
and
they're just people.
Like how we treat them as separated because they live in the ivory towers versus how we have isolated them by like over presenting them as more than people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that's again like that's not what we're doing on this episode. This is yours. And I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, like I have an example
on.
with there though of like famous people are being looked at how like very different. Like I saw, I'm not gonna name them, but I saw a famous person at Nike, and I was just there. I was chilling. It was an event, and they were like, "Oh, big person," and I was like, "Well, that's crazy." And I said that the person next to me I was talking to, and they're like, "No, it's not crazy. I went to the gym with them in New York," and they're like, "Well, yeah, we said this person." Yeah. All these people are just people. And I was like, that was just like a moment for me.
Oh, man. I remember I got to meet Billy Sheehan. He's a bass player. Yeah. The nicest dude. Billy Sheehan. If you ever want to be on the show, I ran sound for you at a Guitar Center in San Jose a long time ago. You probably don't remember me, but
maybe he does.
We'll make it happen. But I remember I went to go talk to him, and one of my all-time heroes, just phenomenal guy, phenomenal bass player. And I remembered like when I walked up to him, I wanted to make sure I like didn't overdo it. You know what I mean? Just, hello, Mr. Sheehan. Really nice to meet you. Like, I'm a big fan. And just the way he responded was just like, so like, he was just like, hey man, it's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for running sound for me tonight. I really appreciate it. And I was like, whoa, those were just like, those are just regular words from a regular dude saying thank you for doing your job so I could do mine. Like, it felt like it was humbling at the same time, like relieving. You know what I mean? Like, because, you should never meet your heroes. Blah, blah, blah.
For sure.
But like, there's definitely something to be said. And I mean, that kind of, we were talking about this off camera too. That's like when I sat down with Obla Reed, because a lot of people had like hyped him up one way or the other for me. And I was just like, man, I've never, like, this guy works so hard. He's like got all these stats. And I sat down with him and I was just like, what's going on, man? He's like, oh my God, it's so good to be, I'm so excited. And he was just pumped.
Yeah.
Just stoked to be a person doing stuff with people out in a place where people were. And that was good enough. And that's just such a humbly feeling. And I think if we treated more people that way regularly, it'd probably be all right.
I think an important thing with that too is like seeing something like that. It's like, it's also motivating, I feel like, because anybody can do anything if you really set your mind to it and have the conviction to do it. Like, you can really do anything.
True. All right, now we talked about who's like the famous person you would want to work with. Now, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you would like to work with? And keep in mind, a lot of people watch the show. Been a bunch of people on the show. There's an opportunity to like get connected to them. Who would you want to work with?
I might name like 3. First and foremost, it would probably be Amine. And then,
okay, well, Amine, let's make it happen,
man. You're from the area. Also, Noah. Listen to Noah.
Oh, yeah. Listen to Noah.
Yeah. And then who else? I feel like I work with most of the people, at least in my circle in the Portland scene. But I mean, there's a lot of people I fuck with. Like there's a lot of other people there. Like some really good artists there. I definitely want to meet them and talk more, but I just haven't been going to shows as much.
No, I understand. But I mean, but more like the point of this question is just for like the people that you're like aware of, that you're like, oh, like I've heard of them, but you just haven't had like a chance to like either like do a show with them or just interact in a way. So like, I mean, great answers nonetheless. I mean, if you can get Amine to work with you,
I have a beat in mind already. I have it. And
perfect.
It's on my next album. I have a beat ready. If you see this,
we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen.
Another verse.
I'm excited about this one. Hell yeah! All right, now for this next one, that broad stroke this question. Think big. Think wide. Like the sky's the limits, so to speak, and also kind of literally. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access, power, building stability, none of that. Like people are gonna show up and they were gonna have a good time. Where would you want to perform?
I feel like I would love to perform at the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico.
Okay.
Because there's like this auditory effect with like how it's built, so things will like click around, and I feel like that'd be crazy.
No, that's a cool spot, and that's often what I like think of as well that nobody's ever said. But I realized if I kept suggesting all the ones that nobody ever said, they all end up saying it. So
yeah, I mean, I'm really into like Mesoamerican mythology too, so that'd just be like amazing.
Yeah, no, that would be a rad spot to pick for sure. Hell yeah! All right, now we've got one last hypothetical question, and this is kind of a deep, kind of a dense one.
I'm ready.
But if you had to pick a completely different genre than any other genre, so if you've done like a cross genre song or anything like that, those two are off the table, or all those, however many genres were in the song, off the table.
That's hard.
You have to pick something you've never dabbled in before, but you would be equally as proficient as you are in your primary genre, and you can't pick country or electronic music. I know. I had to stop picking it because it was just too easy an answer.
This
is a dig deep question. Dig deep question. Like,
I think that's hardest for me because I really make a lot of different genres of music, and I feel like I really genre bend a lot, especially when I produce my own music because I have a lot of different influences. So like some things I'll just mix with some things, and it's just ideas and feelings because it all goes off feelings again with me. So like the songs are just feelings. I don't even know what I'm playing really, but it's a feeling, and I'll just keep building on that. But I think that's really hard because I do mix a lot of things. I've got like a lot of different influences, but something I haven't done to my fullest ability that I would love to do, and I feel like I could be proficient in if I was like all the way proficient in it, I think would be like some like shoegaze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've dabbled in like some sounds, but never like actually done a shoegaze song.
I mean, you can't really dabble in shoegaze.
Yeah.
You're either all the way in.
I've taken influence from it. I'd say.
Yeah, no, I'm just having fun. But no, I mean that's a great answer though. See, like you just, I have to take away those two answers because they're just too easy to lead
Honestly,
on to.
yeah, country, you could do that for like anything.
Yeah, country's just an easy jump from anything, and like EDM is like the easy way out as well for a lot of the like hip hop cats and such.
Yeah,
but like then that's like it's such a fun hypothetical.
EDM and hip hop flow really well together too. It'd be easy to be like a rapper on an EDM song too.
Yeah, well, but more I mean like there's just they were getting too easy to answer that way, so I wanted to give people the and shoegaze is such a cool answer.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? I'm like oh yeah, like. What an interesting segue from what you do versus like how that is. So like that's a fun relative answer. So perfect. You nailed it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up.
All right.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us what's coming up next? What big things say like end of let's say like mid-October onwards.
All right. So I mean like around October, don't know exactly when, maybe beginning of October, maybe end of September, the 30th, my birthday. But I was going to thank you. I was I've got an album ready.
Oh shit!
I just gotta add the finishing mixes, add like a verse or two. But I've got an album, don't really have the name yet, but it might be Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord in Latin.
Nice.
And it's got like 13 songs on it.
Okay, solid.
And I've got another one coming probably later this, maybe October or November, when it's gonna be rainy around here because it fits vibe for it. But it's more of a indie. That's where the shoegaze vibe comes into, like indie post-punk kind of influence, because I have a song out called Get Back Home, which is more post-punk influence.
Okay.
Which is self-produced, but the whole album is going to be self-produced. It's called From Venus with Love.
Nice.
It's kind of like not an alter ego, it's just more of like two sides of me. It's like Venus and Hatchet. But that is something I'm very excited for. A lot of influence from like dream pop and things like that too.
I dig that.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's an interesting choice to release them so close together.
Yeah.
But it's smart that they're so like stylistically different.
Yeah, it's like it's two different parts of me. I got something to prove with the rap album, and
well, a lot of people like there was an era in time, especially in not early. Ooh, that was a charged statement there. But like in like early 2000s rap, there was this moment where like people were dropping a lot of double albums. Like Nelly had the Suit and Sweat album, I believe it was. E40 had the like Day Shift, Night Shift. Like there was just this moment in time where like they would like, and that was the thing, is that like one of them was like all hype, one of them was all like ooh. So like like the idea of like, even though you're releasing so soon together, you're gonna catch like two completely different audiences that are gonna kind of like, they're gonna swing in and out of each other. So like we won't get into like the algorithmic concepts behind how that like scientifically works for like growing those numbers, but just like what a cool way to interact with a different group of people, especially for like people who may get tired of the early, like the first one, the sound, like the first one's like, man, this is hype, this is cool, the vibe, and then they hear the other one like, this is so different that like I'm ready for different. Like after a month of listening, I'm ready for another sound.
I love the diversity of sounds. So like I have so many different sounds I work with. I'd be making all sorts of different genres. I have house music. I have all sorts of music because I produce, and that's something I love to do. Yeah. So I just love creating. I have like random like ambient songs and things like that. It's really just things that I do. But yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, well, we're wrapping it up, so we're going to get back into it. And for this next one, go ahead and look at the camera and just tell people how they can find you.
All right, well, you can find me on Instagram at The Venusian Angel. You can find me on Spotify as Hatchet with an exclamation mark, on SoundCloud as Hatchet with an exclamation mark. And yeah, that's about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on
here?
Yes,
some shout outs. Shout out Local Pressure, all of them. I love you boys. And yeah, shout out my mom. Shout out public transit. Shout out communities. And yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know who they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, it's time for the final question. What is your guilty pleasure song?
Oh man, there's this one called like, it's like a really dream poppy, like super, I feel like it just feels like flowers and pink, but it's a song by this band called 800 Cherries, and it's called Painty Paint Pots or something like that. I've listened to it for a couple of years, but the feeling from it I cannot like replace or like find another song that feels like that song.
I'm so curious about the song now.
It's like, I don't know, but it feels like spring, like when all the flowers are coming out and those strawberries are coming and like things are starting to get warm. It feels like that. And when things are like starting to sprout out, it's a good song.
I know one person that's going to hate me for saying this, but for some reason that entire description, this isn't going to line up at all as soon as I say it, but for some reason the entire time you were describing that, the only thing I could think of is the Shrimp song by Kira Kira Bonito.
Oh man.
Are they at all close to each other?
I mean, in the fact that they're crisp and like really
okay,
cute.
but there's no correlative musical similarity.
Think so.
Damn it. Okay,
so.
Again, I know
it's a good song.
It's surprisingly rare I don't know the guilty pleasure song. So I was just like, okay.
It's a pretty small band, but actually not even small. They've got some songs, but that's a really good song by them.
Hell yeah. Well,
I got one more.
Oh, okay. Oh, doubling down. Let's go.
The one that's stuck in my head is Ski by Sexy Red.
Okay. Yeah. Valid.
That one, I was singing with Aiden one time after a concert. This is just catchy. I don't know.
You know, sometimes they just get up in there.
I mean, songs always get caught in my head, and I'll just find myself like singing like one line for like 4 days.
Yep. He's kind of a YouTube musician. His name's Tom Cardy.
I don't think I've heard of him.
He's like a satirical and comedic. He's like a if Mark Ripley never left the studio kind of guy, like always in the room, but just like he's just silly, he's just funny. He's Australian, I believe. I don't think he's from New Zealand. Please, nobody come after me for that one. If that what gets me taken down, I would be so sad. But like he's from one of those respective places. Yeah, right. I don't have the information handy, but just. His music's just silly. I don't care who you are. It's silly as fuck. But it's so good.
Yeah.
Like musically, the man gives a shit about what he's doing. So every time you listen to it, you're like, yeah, why am I anxious? That's a whole song.
Songs can change your mood. And that's what I mean. Like, there's a feeling in every song.
The song is literally called, like, Why Am I Anxious? And it's just all these reasons. And then the entire time the song is listing the reasons.
Oh, my God.
It's just him being like, no, it couldn't be that. They're like, maybe it's because you drink 40 cups of coffee and you don't sleep. No. Maybe it's because you do, like, an insane amount of hard drugs. No. Maybe it's because you need to see your therapist. No. But why am I anxious? It's just the music's silly.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, shout out Tom Cardy. If you want to be on the show, I can't fly you out here, but I will be ready if you do.
We need all of these guests that we talked about on the show at one time.
Oh my God, I would rent out a real room for that.
Dream blunt rotation.
Oh, woof, woof. All right, shoot, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
This is actually happening. All right, this is the end.
This is the end.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe it.
I know, right? All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and get up and out of here, y'all. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Hatchet.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all. That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.